cars have qualified at better than 190 miles an hour. And everybody's here, including Darrell Waltrip, the leading money winner on the circuit, Bobby Allison, who's chasing him in the point standings, Cale Yarborough, the 78 Grand National champion, today's pole sitter, Buddy Baker, who's hoping for his first win ever at Daytona, Richard Petty starting his 19th Firecracker, and A.J. Foyt, who has won here twice before in the Firecracker. So stay with us for an exciting afternoon of Grand National Stock Car Racing on ABC's Wide World of Sport. ABC Sports returns to the Daytona International Speedway, where for the 21st consecutive year during the week of Independence Day, the richest 400-mile race in the world, the Firecracker 400 for NASCAR Grand National Stock Cars, is set to go. This race begins the second half of the Grand National Circuit, which this year has become the most competitive in history. Just look at how closely bunched the drivers are in the point standings. 7 drivers are over 2,000 points. And with 180 points to the winner of today's race, you can see that either Bobby Allison or Cale Yarborough could possibly overtake Darrell Waltrip for the lead. However, it's going to take a lot of work to do it because it's a very hot day here, and there are 400 long miles ahead. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Fleming, speaking to you from our announced position at the start-finish line, high above the main grandstand here at the Daytona International Speedway. I would like to add one further note about the competitiveness of the season this year, and that is the fact that in the money winning in this $5 million circuit, Darrell Waltrip, halfway through the season, has reached almost $300,000. In fact, we have 8 drivers over $100,000. And astoundingly, in that group are 2 rookies. Dale Earnhardt with $136,000 and Joe Milligan with $112,000. That's never happened before, and certainly augurs well for racing because we're getting some really new blood into that top 10. There is a veteran on the pole today. Buddy Baker is sitting there, and to comment on him and the Buddy Baker story, let's call in our racing expert, Sam Bose. Sam, good to have you back.
Bill, thanks very much. Of course, the Buddy Baker story here is a fascinating one because as successful as he's been everywhere else, he has never won a major race here at Daytona. Now, he has a tantalizingly good chance this time. He's on the pole here this spring. Did not win then. He's on the pole again. But he won the last race, the Michigan race, a couple of weeks ago. So this may be his best shot. Now, mitigating against this, of course, is a funny old jinx that at Daytona, in this race, only once in 20 years has the pole position winner actually come through as the winner of the race itself.
Right, Sam, and as we look at the main grandstand, we can see some empty seats, which confirms the Speedway officials' prediction that perhaps the crowd will be off about 15% because the fans fearing they couldn't get fuel. Now, let's check in with our expert in the pits, the editor of National Speed Sport News, Chris Economaki.
Okay, Bill. Well, along pit road, the scene is a little bit different. Cale Yarborough, a 3-time NASCAR champion, is having one of his worst seasons. He's only won 2 events. He's won no pole position, and he's been in 5 crashes since the season began. On the other hand, Darrell Waltrip, the number 88 driver, is having his best season. He's right at the top of the point standing and seems headed for championship. He was the young lion of a couple of seasons ago. And then there's some rookies to watch in the race because they've got fine equipment, and one has already won, Dale Earnhardt. Joe Milligan and Terry Labonte are the others. It's an interesting mix down on pit road.
All 41 cars are started, and they are on the lap, preceding the green flag. So let's set the road. On the pole, car number 28, Buddy Baker from Charlotte, North Carolina, 2 wins this year. Outside of him is Neil Bonnet, car number 21. He has taken over the Pearson car in April. He won at Dover. Row 2 has Benny Parsons, car number 27, who has swapped cars with Baker. And next to him, quite a surprise, car number 41, Grant Adcock from Chattanooga, Tennessee, the best qualifying effort for him ever. Row 3, Cale Yarborough has won only 2 races this year, the former Grand National champion of a year ago, car number 11. And next to him, the hottest man on the circuit, car number 88, Darrell Waltrip. Car number 67 is on the inside of row 4, Buddy Arrington. And next to him is car number 51, A.J. Foyt, who is in starting position number 8. In row 5, it's Ty Scott, car number 30. And next to him, a rookie, number 44, Terry Labonte. In the 6th row, Richard Petty in the familiar car number 43. This is his 19th Firecracker race. He has won it twice. Chuck Bound, car 68, is outside of him in row 6. Now we skip back to row 10, where we have Ricky Rudd, car number 90, the 1977 Rookie of the Year. And next to him, Bobby Allison in car number 15. He has won 4 races this year, but he has never won the Firecracker race, and he is second to Waltrip in the standings. Dale Earnhardt is on the inside of row 11. He is the leading rookie as far as money winnings are concerned. David Marcus is next to him. That is Earnhardt is 2, and Marcus is 71. Donnie Ellison, who won the 70 race here in car number 1, and next to him another rookie, Joe Milligan. So here they come down the main chute, and it looks like we are going to get the green flag. We're going to get it. And moving up very quickly is Neil Bonnet, who takes over the lead from Buddy Baker. He got a little bit better start than Buddy now. Four's on the pole on the inside. And look at Benny Parsons right behind Buddy Baker as they swing into turn one. It's Buddy Baker in the silver car. Now getting a length lead, and right behind him in the draft is Benny Parsons sliding up ahead of Neil Bonnet in the second place. So down the back stretch they go with Buddy Baker in the lead. Next to him is Benny Parsons, and right up next to him is Neil Bonnet. Those are the first three cars as they flash into turn three of this 2.5 mile, 33-degree bank oval at the Daytona International Speedway. The Firecracker 400 is underway, the 21st race, and this should be a hot one and a dandy today, judging by the competition we have had so far this year. As they come by, the first time around, it is Buddy Baker in the lead. Right behind him is Benny Parsons. Then comes Neil Bonnet, and Grant Adcox is hanging in there for fourth as they bunch up, going into turn number one, and it's still Buddy Baker. And it's been a very good start so far. In fact, Sam, this just exemplifies what we've been talking about, the tightness of the competition. Look how they're bunched in there.
Boy, that is absolutely true, Bill. You know what I think happened to Neil Bonnet? He definitely got the drop on Buddy Baker, but when they went to that shift from third up into fourth, he seemed to hesitate. He may have had a little trouble with the upshift. Of course, he's recovered now. He's running a solid second.
And car number 21 is the car that Neil Bonnet is driving. We will have a new Firecracker 400 champion. It may very well be in car number 21, but you'll recall that David Pearson won here a year ago for the 5th time, but he is not in the car this year. Bonnet has taken over the Wood Brothers car and is currently running second to Buddy Baker. We're counting the cars on the track. We have 41 starters. There are 41 cars on the track. As they head into turn two down the back stretch, it is still Buddy Baker in the lead. Right behind him is Neil Bonnet from Hueytown, Alabama. And then in third place is the very popular Benny Parsons. And moving up on him now is Grant Adcox.
This is a 7-car draft they've got up there as the lead right now, Bill. You can imagine the effect of the air around the track now. The first car is breaking the air open, then all the other 7 that you see right there are all sort of benefiting from the fact that the air has had a hole punched in it for them. So these guys are traveling at enormous speeds right now.
Darrell Waltrip has moved into third place ahead of Benny Parsons. So Darrell Waltrip in car number 88 has made the move into third. Keep your eye on him because he is the leading money winner and the leading point man for the first half of the season. Here's Al Hobart into the 5th car, number 7, from Wellington, Pennsylvania. And we have now 40 cars running on the track. Here comes Waltrip on the inside. As they go into turn 3, it's Darrell Waltrip in a daring move, taking over the lead. He just shot ahead there. And so as Waltrip comes by, you'll see everybody in the same stand cheering for him because he's really become a great hero this year. The leading money winner off the circuit, and here he comes by.
Well, Bill, Darrell's been charging hard all year, but never any harder than this. He came up on the 3rd row and took the lead very early on. He's about to be repassed. Buddy Baker going underneath him there. That was the effect of the slingshot. Went right by underneath him as they go through that west wall banking there. Very, very exciting stuff.
What'll be interesting to see is whether Waltrip now can gather the draft on that long back stretch and move up, and you'll see him moving very quickly, and there he goes. And these slingshots by on turn 3. So I think we're going to have a race here today that will show you what the effect of the draft is. Big Super Speedway can be.
There's absolutely no question about it, Bill. And of course, these guys are just trying to use that draft as well as they can.
Now, let's see if it happens again down the main chute, because here's Waltrip in the lead. Buddy Baker is right behind him. Will he get by? And say, keep your eye on A.J. Point, who is now in 6th place in that red car number 51. Just coming into view in your monitor there. No, Waltrip squeezes off Buddy Baker. So Buddy Baker can't take it by this time. And there is A.J. Point, who has come all the way up to 6th place, and he started way, way back in the back at position number 9. There's Buddy Baker into turn 3, just as we may have predicted, because he got the draft going down the back stretch and shoots ahead of Darrell Waltrip. I think it promises to be a very exciting afternoon in this 21st running of the Firecracker 400. And so, as we complete lap number 6, as they come by, it's Buddy Baker, Darrell Waltrip, Neil Bonnet, and Benny Parsons, the first 4 cars. laps old, we already have had a half a dozen lead changes as the cars are very closely bunched going down the backstretch. Buddy Baker in jeopardy now of losing the lead to Darrell Waltrip, who slides by him on the inside, and right behind him is car number 21, Neil Bonnet. Boy, it's been really furious here in the opening lap. It promises to be an extremely hot day. The temperature on the track at the start of the race, 140 degrees on the asphalt. Can you believe that? So you know what it's like inside of these racing machines. And speaking about the cars themselves, we often refer to them, of course, by the manufacturer's name. But as you know, these are cars specially prepared for stock car racing. They're not the kind of a car that you go to a showroom and buy. But we do refer to them, of course, by their manufacturer's name throughout the race. Right now, it's Darrell Waltrip in the lead, and right behind him is Neil Bonnet. Buddy Baker is in third place. And there goes Bonnet on the inside. Bonnet has the lead, and D.K. Albrecht slowing down there, car number 40 on the inside rail. Looks like he may have a problem. As they come by now, we have a new leader, Sam.
Nobody wants to be behind for too long in this thing, Bill, because they're afraid they'll overheat their motor.
And Darrell Waltrip isn't staying behind very long because he regains the lead. And look at Buddy Baker sliding up there close, and he moves into second place. Nice move by Buddy. There goes Al Hubbard. Car number 7 goes back out of the track, so we do have 41 cars running. Down the backstretch, out of turn 2, it's Darrell Waltrip, Buddy Baker, and Neil Bonnet, followed by Benny Parsons and A.J. Foyt.
Bill is a man of the stands today who's watching this race with mixed emotions. Herb Nabb, Baker's regular crew chief, is sitting out 3 races to see if the team can run more effectively without him. Now, if Buddy continues to do this well, I suppose it is possible Waddell Wilson, the man who is standing in for Nabb, may get that job full time.
Right now, Buddy Baker is squeezing right in behind Darrell Waltrip. And Neil Bonnet there is Benny Parsons and A.J. Foyt in the red car. Car number 51 moves up and almost gets 4th place there, but has to go a little bit low. There he is dropping back to 5th. Remarkable A.J. Foyt, who has completed every lap of every race that he's entered this year. Before today's race got underway, Chris Economaki talked to him.
A.J., with the politics that are affecting Indianapolis car racing, might you do more stock car racing as the year goes on?
Well, that's quite true, yeah, because all the stuff that's going on in championship racing is actually set racing back 10 years, and I think the statement Mario Andretti made was a good statement that we need to be pulling together, not apart at a time like this.
Okay, A.J., all the best in the 400.
Thank you.
Incidentally, the only other Grand National race that A.J.'s been in this year was the Daytona 500, and he finished 3rd in that. And there goes Buddy Baker into the lead ahead of Darrell Waltrip. Yesterday, Sam Posey talked to our pollster, Buddy Baker, about what role the heat would play in the race today.
Well, I think it's going to have a lot to do with the drafting that we do here. You know, in February, we can all get in a 20-car train and not worry too much about a car running 220, 225 down the straightaways on water temperature. But tomorrow, that'll be very common for a car to run right on the boiling point. And if it gets over 225, then you just have to get out of there and drop back and cool your car off and come again. But there's a lot of cars, if they drop back, they'll never get back up there again.
3-time Grand National champion Cale Yarborough hasn't mounted much of a challenge today. What's the story on him, Chris? It's just too hot?
It's a veritable furnace down here at Pit Road, and Cale Yarborough's tough-luck season is continuing. His car has a broken pushrod, and it's operating on 7 cylinders. That's about 1 second a lap slower than the competition. Yarborough's quest for a 4th straight title is not coming easy.
So Cale's having his problems, and so is A.J. Foyt. Car number 51 is in the pit, under the green, and it looks like a long one, Sam.
Bill seems to be stretching out, but I really don't understand why. They seem to be doing routine work, except for that guy looking in at the back, but no actual special work is being done, but it's going on and on here.
One thing is certain, he's going to be a lap down to the leaders, and he heads back out of the track. So A.J. Foyt, Cale Yarborough, a couple of big names, are facing some disappointment here this afternoon in the Firecracker 400. Scrambling in the leaders now because we're going to get pit stops. Fuel is getting low in the lead cars, and that means that Darrell Waltrip, car number 88, coming into the pit, will get fuel. There's Buddy Baker going by and kind of slow. That, incidentally, is the second time Buddy's been in the last 5 laps, which could augur trouble for him. There's Dale Earnhardt at the top of your screen, who's been running very well. Sam?
Now, this is Waltrip, who gets away fast, and Earnhardt follows him out, having lost maybe a couple of seconds at the most. Good pit stops for both these cars.
Well, that's going to put Benny Parsons inheriting the lead, along with Richard Benny right behind him on the race course. And there goes Buddy Baker. He's going to the garage. He's finished for the day, and that is a shock. Benny Parsons has inherited the lead. Well, it could be the heat has gotten to Buddy Baker's car. Let's get out of Chris Economaki to find out how hot it is.
Well, it's 130 degrees at track temperature, and it's a veritable furnace down here in pit road. Lenny Thompson has an electric fan, and here the men are watering down the tires so the air pressure doesn't get too high. The heat here is really tremendous, and the drivers are feeling it on the track. Back to you, Bill.
All right, Chris, we'll try to find out what happened to Buddy Baker. In the meantime, Richard Petty's car is in the pit, and we've got a timer on him. Usually this is a very fast crew, Sam.
One of the very fastest in all of NASCAR. It's been a big part of Petty's success over the years.
And a good stop here, 16 and a half seconds. Incidentally, Richard had driven his way up into sixth place, inherited the lead when the leaders pitted, and held it for 2 laps, and out he goes once again. The winningest driver in NASCAR history, 187 career wins. There was to have been another Petty racing today. Here he is, Kyle Petty. He is on the Richard Petty crew. Of course, he's the son of Richard. He had a little bit of a tough luck in the qualifying run, driving Richard's old Dodge Magnum. He came a little bit too close to the wall, and this is what happens. He came out of it without a scratch, but he kind of wiped out the car for this particular race. Now, Sam Posey had an opportunity to talk to Father Richard about his 19-year-old son about what happened in that incident.
Well, we come down here to run, and he had his car, and he run about 100 miles practice, and everything was perfect. He really looked good, and then he goes out and qualifies, and, when we qualify, then we do a little bit different to the car to try to pick up a couple 3 mile an hour just for qualifying, and I think he wound up going in the corner a little bit faster than what he'd been used to, and the car got away from him, and he spun it, messed it up a little bit, so, when we got back in and looked at it, we decided that the best thing for him to do is be on my pit crew, and we take the car back home and get it ready for the next race. Do you find that your father gives you a lot of advice? I mean, not obviously just after a crash necessarily, but about racing in general?
Every now and then, not really that much. I mean, he'll tell you a little bit about. He'll ask me about the car being loose, or if the car's pushing, just the way the car feels, basically, not how to drive it, because, I mean, I don't think one driver can tell another driver how to drive the car, and I don't think you can copy anybody's style exactly, so he just tells me to have your own style just to be smooth and consistent, basically.
Does he follow the directions you do give him?
Well, he's done real good. He's had a couple of bad breaks, but, I don't think there's anybody that started racing that hadn't been in the wall a few times, and I'm still racing and still getting in the wall. So from that standpoint, it's just a learning process that he's just going to take a while for him to learn, and it's going to take 2 or 3 years for him to get most of the crashing out of his blood. I just hope that we can keep building the cars long enough for him to do it.
Tell me this, Carl. Suppose you became very successful and you began to win these things. Do you think that would push your father into retiring?
Not really. I mean, I figure he'll be around for a pretty good while, and I just hope that maybe I'll be in a position to run up front and race with him before he retires, and maybe beat him a couple times.
That would be the dream come true for the son to beat the father, even just one time. And once again, it's Neil Bonnet, whose swing shot passed Darrell Waltrip into the lead. It seems, Sam Posey, as if Neil's found the right groove today.
Well, the right groove for him, Bill, seems to be almost anywhere he wants to run on the racetrack. I've seen him go high and low, and when he slingshots past other guys, as he just did then, he seems to get further away from them than the other guys do.
And here comes Bobby Allison in car number 15, going into second place, also past Darrell Waltrip. So as we approach the halfway mark in the Firecracker 400, we've got Neil Bonnet, Bobby Allison, and Darrell Waltrip in quite a duel, with several others standing right behind, namely Dale Earnhardt and Benny Parsons. But remember, there's still 200 scorching miles to go here in the Firecracker 400. 5 cars very much in contention right now, as Neil Bonnet, Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, and Benny Parsons are fighting it out. And here comes Bobby Allison into the pit, under the green. So Bobby must feel that he's got to take on some rubber and some fuel.
This is a critical point in the race now, because in the next few minutes, I think we're going to see all the leaders come in under the green, and change, at least have a pit stop. Now, this one's going pretty well. The 4 guys are working on it. Allison's crew there very fast. The Budmore crew. Now, they've decided to change all 4 tires. It could be because of the heat. I'm not sure, Bill, but this, of course, is going to run the pit stop up. It's going to make it take a little bit longer than it ordinarily would.
4 tires, fuel, a lube job, and a clean windshield. All in 26.2 seconds. Not bad.
That's good for the amount of work they did.
Now, you have some unfinished business. The story of what happened earlier to Buddy Baker, and Chris Economaki is with crew chief Waddell Wilson. Chris?
Tough break for Buddy, Waddell. What was the trouble?
Well, Fred, from all indications, we dropped a valve. And as far as anything else, I don't know. It could be a push rod, a rock arm. I'd say my own self it was a valve. Because we was pretty long RPM at the end of the day.
Everybody's talking about who the crew chief is going to be, Waddell. You were Herb Nabb. What's the story?
Well, at this point, Chris, except for Harry Renier, the car owner, there's not a power struggle between Herb and myself, but it seems like there's friction amongst all of us at the present. With Herb and I both in the team, so, you know, it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Okay, Waddell Wilson, what do you think this crew chief? Back to you, Bill.
And in case you joined us late, Buddy Baker went out 30 laps ago. And now, Darrell Waltrip comes in to the pit area. A moment ago, we had Bobby Allison in. Remember, Neil Bonnet has not pitted yet. Neil has not come in, neither has Benny Parsons or Dale Earnhardt. And it looks like all 4 tires on this one, too.
Yep, same thing. Well, at this point in the race, they've obviously all decided they have to change those inside tires as well as the outside ones still.
And it's going to be slower than Bobby's. 29 seconds, so Bobby picks up 2.8 seconds on Darrell Waltrip. And that could be critical on this race course. So out goes Darrell Waltrip. And we'll keep our eyes on Neil Bonnet. There he is just flashing by in car number 21. He most certainly is going to have to make a pit stop for fuel, as will Benny Parsons and Dale Earnhardt. Those 5 have been scrapping for the lead. Down the backstretch goes Neil Bonnet. That is the Wood Brothers Mercury that seems to be purring around this course in beautiful fashion here. There's trouble. There's smoke ahead of the car, out of control. Bonnet slides by, and it's car 44. There goes Darrell Waltrip by, and Bobby Allison crashes into him. Terry Labonte, sideways on the course, is crashed into by Bobby Allison. The yellow flag is out, and what a tough break for Bobby Allison, who came around just at the wrong time. We saw Bonnet go through, Sam. We saw Waltrip go through, and there was Bobby. There was no way he could have gotten by.
Incredible, Bill. What a hit that Allison took. Let's look at this thing again. All right, there goes Bonnet. Now, you see him. He's okay here. And all of a sudden, I think we start to see the smoke. That was the first warning. I was just looking at Bonnet. All right, there's the smoke. Something seemed to hit his car. I don't know what that was. Maybe something off Labonte's car. I don't even know. Maybe that's what caused Labonte to go out of control. He lost it. I have no idea. Bonnet gets by okay. Of course, it's close, but he gets by okay. Now, along comes Waltrip. We remember he goes by okay. Trying to think ahead a little what might have happened with Bobby Allison. See, sometimes, Bill, you're going down these straightaways, and if you're drafting another car, your visibility is limited. You see what I mean? Because you're running in the... Here comes Allison. Obviously, it has been long before this. He must have been surprised. His vision, as they went up the straight, must have been blocked somehow. And that can happen. I mean, you know, you're running 200 miles an hour, but maybe you're only a car length behind one of these big cars, and you really only see 20 feet ahead of you. You pull out of the draft, all of a sudden you see the accident. I mean, that's how these accidents occur, the multi-car accidents like this. Look at this. What? It must have been terrifying for Allison. Just absolutely out of control, knowing he was going to hit. Unbelievable.
Not nearly as terrifying had it been on the driver's side, because he really stove in that side of the car. Well, the yellow is out, and I'll tell you this, it's a tough break for Darrell Waltrip, who earlier had pitted under the green. Now, Bonnet can come in under the yellow. Earnhardt can come in. So can Benny Parsons. I'd say it's just the luck of racing.
Well, that's an absolutely critical point, of course, in the development of the race.
So the fact remains, Neil Bonnet, Benny Parsons, and Dale Earnhardt can all fit under the yellow. And, of course, Darrell Waltrip has already made his commitment under the green. Tough break for him and for Bobby Allison. We're back at the Daytona International Speedway for the final laps of the 21st running of the Firecracker 400. This is Bill Dale Fleming along with Sam Posey and Chris Economaki. And as you look at how things stand right now, let me remind you that Buddy Baker, the pole sitter, went out with mechanical problems on lap number 6. Bobby Allison and Terry Labonte were involved in a two-car crash, and neither one was hurt.
And two other favorites, A.J. Foyt and Cale Yarborough, are having a bad day.
35 laps to go in the Firecracker 400, and Neil Bonnet in car number 21 still has the lead. Ahead of him on the race course is car number 88, just out of your picture there on the left side. That is Darrell Waltrip, and he is dangerously close to being lapped by the leader of the race, Neil Bonnet. As they head down the backstretch, car number 88 is Waltrip. Then a slower car, then car number 21, hidden by 71, is the leader of the race. Benny Parsons in car number 27 is in second place. And then behind Benny comes car number 2, Dale Earnhardt, in third place. Car number 68, Chuck Pound, is in fourth place. Then comes Darrell Waltrip, who is almost a lap down, in fifth place. That's the way things stand right now, and the crucial point of the race is coming up, and that simply is what they hope to be the last pit stop. Now, the three leaders, Bonnet, Parsons, and Earnhardt, did it on lap number 93. That means that right now they have run 33 laps on fuel, and the projection on fuel was that the maximum they could run would be 35. They've been averaging about 34. So Sam Posey had put an interesting projection into our little calculator here as to if they could finish the race, if they got a full load of fuel in a lap or two.
Well, Bill, obviously with these stops coming up, if nothing untoward happens, because there's traffic here, this could be a very good moment for Neil Bonnet. So far, the Woods brothers have been getting him in and out of the pit a little bit faster than the other guys. And actually, he's in a very good position now because he's been pulling away from the second and third place cars. So if the pit stop goes according to plan, everything's under the green, this man, Neil Bonnet, could emerge with a pretty useful lead. He's got a couple of seconds right now.
And don't bet any money against the Wood Brothers crew when it comes down to a final pit stop in a race, because they've been there before. The Wood Brothers have won the Firecracker 400 here 5 times with David Pearson as the pilot. There are the Wood Brothers standing by. They've got new rubber, and they're going to give him the sign to come in. The one thing they don't want him to do is to run out of fuel. Here he comes. All right, now let's get our stopwatch on him, and let's see the differential. We'll time car number 21, Neil Bonnet. Benny Parsons will have to come in for fuel because he pitted on the same lap, 93, and he is coming in. All right, I'll take Parsons in car number 27, and Dale Earnhardt will have to come in also. So they're giving fuel and rubber on the right side to Neil Bonnet. They're giving right side rubber to Benny Parsons. And I've got my eye also on the race course. There's Benny Parsons going out a little bit faster.
Here's Dale Earnhardt, Bill.
And Earnhardt will have to come in, even though he is the so-called titular leader on the track. He's got to come in for fuel.
He's coming in now.
All right, here comes Dale Earnhardt.
All right, this is critical. We'll have to get him timed as well. But in the exchange of the lead, it was Benny Parsons that really moved past.
Looked like he beat him by about 4 seconds.
Yep. Oh, bad break for Earnhardt. Foyt just pulled out right in front of him. That cost about 2 seconds right there, I guess. Okay, we're running the clock on Earnhardt. This is critical for his hopes. This rookie has done so well so far. They're changing the outside rubber. Of course, they do that so the car will be very fast during the last few laps of the race. They get him out. That's a very good one. All right, now we're going to have to see what happens as he gets back in with the traffic. The other guys are coming around. They're just going under where
he's not going to make it because Benny Parsons is going to lap him, and so is Neil Bonnet.
Yep, there they go. Earnhardt still third after the exchange. What really happened is Neil Bonnet lost the lead. All right, that was quite a surprise. 1 and 2.
So
right
Benny Parsons is now in the lead in car number 27 with a superior pit stop. Then Neil Bonnet is in second place, and in third place will be Dale Earnhardt. But, of course, you will not see that reflected in the standings simply because of the fact that Darrell Waltrip did not come in. Darrell Waltrip will have to make a pit stop.
Well, now, this is a dramatic confrontation right here at the end. We've seen it. Now it'll be interesting, with no further pit stops anticipated anyway, Bill, to see how the race runs its course. It has been in the past that Neil Bonnet's been a little bit faster on the track than Benny Parsons. He's now a little bit behind. So we're set for what seems to me to be an incredibly dramatic climax.
Well, it'll be dramatic whenever you see that fuel pressure start to drop a little bit. and you know that the fuel is draining out of there. They put it in so fast it's impossible to get a full tank, really, and squirt over the side. If they get a yellow, they'll come in and get a quick guzzle of gas and go on back out.
Well, I imagine they may want the yellow for more reasons than just the gas, Bill. At this point, they've only run 9 laps under the yellow, and the physical strain on these guys is incredible as the race approaches the end. When you've gone this long without a chance to rest, your hands have been on the wheel, is so tense. And in the yellow, you get to take your hands off the wheel, limber your shoulders up a little bit. And another part of the problem they have is their feet. They keep down in there. Sometimes, if you can't get your feet away from the floorboards, part of your shoe becomes almost melded into the floorboard.
Well, Neil Bonnet's shoe, I think, is pretty much into the radiator right now because he just flashed by Benny Parsons. And here's Darrell Waltrip coming in, which has to be the last pit stop for him. I'm sure it'll only be right side rubber and fuel and get him out of there in 15 or 16 seconds. Now a little longer, 17 seconds.
He had trouble getting it in gear, I think. That's what happened.
Now the single most thing on his mind right now is to get out on that course before the leaders can overtake him and put a lap on him. It's going to be a tough job to do, especially when you're kind of fatigued at the end of a long, long trail. And here they come, Bonnet and Parsons out on the trail of Waltrip. Benny Parsons has also passed Darrell Waltrip. So the two cars running 1 and 2 on the race course are also running 1 and 2 in the standings. Neil Bonnet, car number 21, leading the race. Benny Parsons, car number 27, right behind him. In third place, about 3/4 of a lap back, is Dale Earnhardt in car number 2. Darrell Waltrip, 1 lap down, is in 4th place. And Richard Petty, in car number 43, is currently running in 5th place.
But it's just these two guys that can win it, Bill.
A little less than 5 laps to go. 4.5 laps now. And it's really a speed sprint from here on in for Neil Bonnet and Benny Parsons. Both of them checking frantically on the fuel pressure, hoping it maintains itself. Benny pulling right up on Neil Bonnet as they come through turn 3, midway through 3 and 4. And Neil Bonnet now has a pretty clean shot ahead of him as far as traffic is concerned. A good 600 or 700 yards before he'll run into any of the slower cars. As they come by now, 4 laps to go.
Actually, it's been this open running that's been the hardest for Bonnet. His advantage really has been more in the traffic than anything else. We've had a spin
out, and I think we're going to get a yellow. Car number 39, Blackie Wangerlin, has spun out, and if we do get a yellow, it doesn't look like it will be a very long one. I can't see.
I think Wangerlin went right off the road.
Yeah, I think he did. We're not going to get a yellow.
This is very dramatic. Right, so
that's only a blue and yellow flag, which means...
Oh, boy, this is the name of the game at NASCAR racing. You know, it's very exciting as to whether what happens here. I mean, the yellow at that point could have decided the race. If no yellow, we still got a car race.
3 laps to go.
Look at how close they are. Oh, this is when the goosebumps come. Now, these guys are really thinking their way around the racetrack, Bill. There's a lot of strategy involved, as you know, in this last lap stuff. You want to hang back so that you get the draft and pass the guy down the back stretch. I mean, that's obviously what's going through Benny Parsons' mind, but at the same time, he can't afford to drop back too far or get somebody else in between. It's awful tricky, and with Darrell Waltrip there, you know, Waltrip is not falling back. They've got really a sort of third ingredient in this thing, a real tactician's battle here. Waltrip almost scraped off by a back marker there.
As they come by here, it'll be 2 laps to go, and Neil Bonnet flashes by with Benny Parsons right behind him. Although Darrell Waltrip is right behind them, keep in mind he is running 4th in the race because Dale Earnhardt, 3/4 of a lap back of the leaders, there he is running 3rd. So don't be confused, even though you see Waltrip in the picture. He made a stop under the green. It was an unfortunate stop for him because moments later the yellow came out with the Allison wreck, but you know, he'd already come in and committed himself, so that was it. And Neil Bonnet and Benny Parsons are a lap and a half away from the checkered flag. Which one will get it? Well, maybe neither of them. In Grand National racing, you never really know. I remember the race at Daytona in '76 when Pearson and Petty tangled, and it was quite a wild finish. The white flag will be out as the cars come by. Here it is. 1 lap to go for Neil Bonnet. and Benny Parsons, and look at Waltrip closing right in there.
And, Bill, with that traffic up ahead of them, this is going to make the race. Exactly what happens, because this group should be catching the group of slower cars right in front of them just about as they come around by the start-finish line.
All right, they peel down that backstretch.
Yeah, there they come into the traffic. This could be absolutely incredible here.
Neil Bonnet, though, is doing a good job of coming through the traffic. And right behind him is Benny Parsons down low. And there's a car that moves in between Bonnet and Parsons. And that's a great break for Bonnet and a bad break for Benny.
Yep, Benny's now tucking down, but he is running out of time. No question about it.
And Earnhardt, who is the third-place car, is going to be lapped now. And Bonnet gets the record. Neil Bonnet wins the Firecracker 400. Benny Parsons is in second place as Dale Earnhardt will finish third. And a blazing finish here. Everybody predicted it would be exciting, and it certainly is.
Oh, unbelievable. I thought that the traffic might help Neil Bonnet, and it did work out exactly that way. This man right in the center of the screen, slowing down now. Neil Bonnet, the driver of the Wood Brothers car, a brilliant, brilliant race.
And there's Benny Parsons getting by him, but I'm afraid, Benny, you're a little late.
Have another look as Neil Bonnet literally threaded his way down that back straight to victory. You see him here. He's the second car from the left on the screen. Now, he's up against the wall here. He's on the far side, away from it. Right? Now, he starts back toward us here and passes that other car, low down as it's called, actually crossing the entire track. Now, at this point, they're approaching the turn, the last long turn. He's down on the inside, just squeezes by that other car, but now, being so low, centrifugal force is going to carry him up. You see him? He's not steering up there. He's being carried up there by the force. Luckily, there was a gap there. Now he's able to start pulling the car back down. He's drafting Dale Earnhardt here for that last little bit of speed that he needs. He comes up to take the flag in an incredible last lap.
And right now, he is enjoying victory lane. So let's go down to Chris Economaki.
You as hot as I am? You as hot as I am, Neil?
Chris, they putting this cool water on here because I asked them to. There's no way to explain how hot it is. You know, the temperature is way up there. I had to really tuck in the end of the race to keep up. So the motor got real hot, and that's just like turning the heat up in the car. It just got hotter and hotter.
You had a spin early in the race, and it upset the front end here. And what's this that we're looking at here, Neil?
Well, one of the cars hit the wall on the back straightaway, and half his bumper came off and hit here and ricocheted off the windshield. So I was kind of concerned that, it messed up the handling, but evidently it was okay.
It was a great day. You'll sleep tonight, huh?
I believe so.
Okay, Neil Bonnet, the winner of one of the hottest races of the year, the Firecracker 400. And back to you, Bill.
All right, and our congratulations to Neil. The biggest victory of his life, worth better than $21,000 to him, and it puts him very close to that $100,000 mark in his fourth year of Grand National Racing. In first place, Neil Bonnet. Benny Parsons in second. Dale Earnhardt in third. Darrell Waltrip in fourth. Richard Petty in fifth. Then you have to look down to 10th place to find A.J. Foyt, and in 20th place, Cale Yarborough. Darrell Waltrip continues to lead in the point standings in the Grand National Circuit. He picked up nearly 100 points on Bobby Allison today, who wrecked on the 93rd lap. Bobby